distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to provide for the documentation and protection of domestic workers and employees and for other matters connected therewith, 2024, SB 272, second reading taken. This bill is now referred to the Senate Committee on Labor and Productivity to report back to the Senate in 4 weeks.
There was a time I employed people, I call them security guide. And I have no idea where they come from. And season after season, they just inform me they are bringing their brother to replace them. They go back to farm and then they come back. Until we began to witness some security challenges arising from the behavior of some of our domestic staff. Some of us employ security people that we don't even know. So I think this is to assist us to think again, and in fact to compel everyone to ensure that when you do employ, that it is documented, and that the Ministry of Labor has responsibility to document, to publish, and to monitor what goes on.
Mr. President, over the years, our nation has experienced an increase in the incidence of assaults and abuse of domestic workers by their employers or hosts. These abuses ranges from slave labor, physical abuse, and sexual abuse, to mention a few. The stories are gory, traumatic, and mind-boggling, especially against the background that these domestic workers exist in the informal sector. They are unionists and they do not have a collective platform to speak for themselves, and therefore remain ostensibly vulnerable and helpless. On the other side of the coin is the rise in the state of complicity of crimes committed by domestic workers, mostly in connivance with other criminal elements of society against their employers or hosts.
I rise in support of this bill because of my conviction that we must go this route, particularly when this bill aimed to protect domestic workers and, of course, those of us who are employing them. However, I have a question. When distinguished Senator Babangida, the mover of this bill, let me commend you for taking this initiative and for putting this forward. However, I'm a little bit not too comfortable with the idea of having a commission for this purpose. Yes, it is the responsibility of the Ministry of Labor and Productivity to look at the issue of domestic workers and the rest of things like this, which is why you are in collaboration with them by bringing this forward, by jointly bringing this.
We can, as a Senate or as a National Assembly, if we can regulate this, it will also reduce all these cases where you see employers refusing to give the rights that's supposed to be given to these domestic workers. And their fundamental rights are always abused. So I think there will be need for us to look at it based on this bill and regulate it. Impose necessary fines, impose necessary punishment for any abuse. And in line with that, at least from being domestic staff, you'll be able to know that you have your own rights as a citizen of this country.
It is very, very timely and appropriate. A few months ago, I was the Minister for Labor and Employment. And a few months, I represented the President at the International Labour Organization in Geneva. Part of the focus of deliberations were not only on the rights of workers, but on the rights for decent work.